Hey folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another historic video. I'm going to take advantage of this F&M at Home Historic All Access event and show off a historic colorless deck today. So let's just take a quick look at what this looks like. Essentially, this is Historic's version of sort of like legacy Eldrazi Post or Cloud Post or something of that nature. We're looking to go really big and go over what a lot of our other opponents can be doing in this format. And we do so with cards like Ugin the Inevitable, Ugin the Spirit Dragon, and Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger. However, we also can go over in a slightly different way, and that's just with Eldrazi Monument, which offers a just huge amount of mana which can be funneled into other cards. Crawling Barrens is a great example of that. While normally this is kind of a mediocre finisher, if all of a sudden you can produce 20 mana, this can get someone dead in a single go. What's kind of cool about this deck is that it does actually have access to its sideboard in Game 1 scenarios through Karn the Great Creator. So if we take a look at this, and to be honest, this is a best of 3 deck list, not a best of 1 deck list. You can tell that by the 4 Grafdigger's Cage. We actually have a pretty wide selection of things that we can wish for here. Platinum Angel is one of those kind of game-ending ones, where if your opponent can't answer it because there's some fair deck, like say an aggressive red deck or something of that nature, things are just over. But a lot of times you can just pick up something like Godpharaoh's Statue and tax your opponent out of the game, or Meteor Golem to answer whatever is going on there. You can also just do something more conservative, like choosing a Sorcerous Spyglass to go and just take something problematic off of the table. Otherwise, you're spending your early turns getting some black filtering for the only colored card in the deck, Extinction Event, which is a very splashable sweeper that tends to be pretty good, or just otherwise ramping things out. I'm just looking to see this deck as well as a handful of other decks, so I'm going to go ahead and jump right into games here. One thing I want to say is that if you want to see more historic content on this channel, this is a great time to like this video. The previous time that I posted a historic video, it just didn't do very well and didn't get caught up by the algorithm at all. So if you want to see more historic in the future, please consider liking this video. Alright. We're going to go ahead and keep this hand. We have a hand that can produce a turn 3 Karn, which hopefully will then work towards doing something a little bit broken later. I don't think I have too much in terms of sequencing my lands here. That's going to be super relevant. Or at least I don't have the experience to know if that is the case. This Mind Stone is likely to get countered here. Yep, that's exactly the card that I had in mind, but I still think I lead on it. If I don't Mind Stone, I don't have the possibility of Karn next turn. And that seems pretty important here. This is my only payoff card, so the sooner I potentially get it into play, the better. Play a Radiant Fountain to play around a second Censor, and then drop this Prophetic Prism. Alright, really was looking for a second payoff card here, not gonna lie. Oh, but opponent has missed a land drop, and I did find a second payoff card. That's a fantastic combo. So we will gladly ram the first Karn into a counterspell. There we go. And we'll hope to draw the second. Okay, cool. So now I can play this around Censor specifically, but there's plenty of other counterspells that my opponent is likely to have. We might have to get busy with the Crawling Barrens. So based on my experiences with these sorts of decks in other formats, I really need to have threat-dense hands against these sorts of decks. Because if you don't have a threat-based hand, they can ignore... And I think I'm just going to go ahead and pop this out of play. I want to cash this in for a card. Sorry, finishing the thought. They can ignore your enablers. Like, they can ignore the mana rocks and things of that nature in order to just use their primary counterspells and answers on the cards that matter. So basically, in this matchup, only big cards like my Planeswalkers and Ulamog and things like that actually truly have text. I don't think I'm ever going to get used to this Uro animation. The Uro is annoying, but I have an Extinction event and a Blast Zone as well if it comes down to that, so it's not like I'm going to be dead to that immediately. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This will be 7. Alright, I guess we're going for Ugin the Inevitable this turn. Show me a counterspell. Alright. That's okay, now we get to follow up with, like, yet another bomb next turn. And there's a lot of worlds where my opponent is going to play something like a Teferi at this stage of the game. So they might tap low-ish. Exiling this is also pretty hot. Golos is cool. And if they have another sensor... Just playing Ugin here is kind of rough. I think I go for it, though. I'm gonna keep that. It represents a good number of cards, even though it itself isn't all that cool. Oh, it hit play. Alright, let's get rid of this Uro forever. Let me tell you, it feels way better to be the person who has the Ugin than it feels to be the person who does not have the Ugin. I've been on the wrong side of this card so many times playing fair, like, white creature-based decks. And it's brutal.
I won't hide from the world any longer. You need to slow down.
Okay, how much loyalty is on this? 1? This might be a turn to just go ahead and kill that with Crawling Barrens. Alright, 4 mana available now. I can go ahead and play a Maze Mind Tome. And let's grab a card. I suppose I maybe wait because of, like, specifically, like, I think it's commit memory that can let my opponent potentially draw 7. I guess there's potentially a downside of drawing early and being lazy. Alright, so my opponent knows the Ugin can be coming this turn. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I can play it around a Censor. But honestly, it might just be better to drop both the Hedron Archive and the Golos this turn. And then just be better at playing the Ugin around soft permission later. Do I have another Crawling Barrens? No, that's a one of. Unfortunate. Let's take another Interplanetary Beacon then. I'll draw with Maze Mind Tome on my opponent's turn. I'll be good this time. Oh, that is not good. I guess it's not scary, right? If my opponent can't counter Ugin, I get a 2-for-1 here. That is a bit of an if, though. I do have 5 cards. Okay, that's just the sign that they do not have the counterspell for the Ugin, and, like, they know it's coming. So that was a great first round. Not the sort of, like, most turbo of starts. We kind of ground that one out in sort of an interesting way. I lack a payoff card here, and I'm not sure if that means that I'm supposed to mulligan or not. I'm going to go ahead and keep this. Because I get a good number of turns before I really need to have the payoff card. And if I miss, I can still just, like, put a Forsaken Monument into play and work towards drawing off a handful of cards off of Maze Mind Tome. Maze Mind Tome may or may not be on Scry duty. We'll see. Turn 2 is going to be Mind Stone. I want to leave myself with the possibility of playing a Hedron Archive or two drops next turn. The sacrifice thing? Okay, cool. Yeah, and indeed I can play 2 drops this turn now. I'm gonna try to maybe get a little more value out of our Extinction event. We don't need to just jam that immediately. I will use a Maze Mind Tome activation on my opponent's turn to scry, and maybe even in my own upkeep as well. My opponent playing another even CMC spell is kind of the dream here. Okay, this was even, yeah. Karn? Karn's pretty good. This might be the sort of deck that I can plop a Platinum Angel into play against, and that just wins. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana this turn. That means 12 mana next turn. So next turn can be Karn into Platinum Angel if I play Forsaken Monument this turn. And now I can just go ahead and draw a card off of this because of that additional mana that I have. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So I can also play the Hedron Archive next turn, and it's free for me to do so without a real cost. Dragon? I don't know my opponent's deck list well enough to know what sort of tricks they have over there. Oh, all my permanents got really small. I don't like that.
I will not stop.
There you are. Guardian Idol's left, and Maze Mind Tome is left, so let's draw a card. I don't know what opponent I don't know what removal my opponent plays. They haven't just conceded yet. So they might have something that gets us off the table. I will not be blocking that. They can have the Karn. I don't want to open this up to something stupid like Shock.
Farewell, and thank you for the lesson.
Okay, this is a lot of words. Alright, so they get a Hellkite. Seems fine. So this is odd. Can't choose odd for this. I could choose even and kill this butcher, but that doesn't seem super relevant. Maybe let's start here. Just to like start ripping permanents apart.
My presence alone will guide you towards victory.
I don't know that I care about my opponent's cards all that much, as weird as that is to say. I think I'm just going to go ahead and do that.
Of the multiverse obeys me.
And let's cash this in again. Play a new Maze Mind Tome. Draw a card with it. Alright, we got an engine going. A new Karn, which I can cast. Alright, I don't know what this one gets.
My allies are counting on me.
Mystic Forge is cool. Meteor Golem is cool. Colorless is God Pharaoh statue, not crazy. I'm just gonna pick up the Meteor Golem. I don't really care about the Karn. And this thing can have an activated ability. Let's go ahead and just chump with that, put a card into my hand.
There are greater battles to fight.
I don't like how small these things are on my screen. Bloodstone's cool. I'll keep that. My opponent can use this to just start pinging my planeswalkers. Maybe I actually care about this enough to kill it. I think I'm game with that.
I can create or destroy.
Alright, I already played my land. I can call that good. I could start trying to turn the corner and actually kill my opponent. Now that they only have a single flyer, I should be safe this turn. I could turn Mind Stone into a card. That's something I should be looking at doing in this turn cycle, probably. Okay, so my opponent has two different flyers here. So my Planeswalker is dying. Go ahead and turn this into a card. So this Meteor Golem is not super interesting unless I do this. So that kills those, and then I can just crash in and kill my opponent. Okay, this deck is playing out very differently from how I imagined it playing. So every time that I'm on the other side of the battlefield from this deck, I've always seen it as something that is just looking to cast an Ugin and then the game ends immediately, and that was really not the case here. Oh no. I realized this entire time I've been recording with my sound on normally and not my headphones. So here's to hoping that the mic didn't pick those up. Let's make that switch before this next game, huh? Let's hope I don't have to throw out that half an hour of recording. Let's do one more here, or two if it's quick. Really enjoying this deck, though. Okay, I'll be keeping this hand. We have a quick Karn one way or another, and we're playing against a Goblins deck. We have a couple of Radiant Fountains, and now an Extinction event. That's very good. Alright, so my opponent is more all in on the Muxus side of the equation than a normal Goblins deck might be. That's what this card indicates here. Okay, this is going to be a really easy 2-for-1 with Extinction Event. I can play the Ether Hub, get an energy, and then just take this 2-for-1 that keeps me so much further away from a Muxus-based kill. So I said further away, but, like, it might be here again next turn. Looks like opponent is considering casting a 3-drop to me, though. They're hovering over this treasure off and on, so they might be considering whether they want to save it for Muxus, or whether they just want to get something else in play. One, two, three, 4, 5. This is 6. I think I'm good with just taking this. And I think my plan this turn is actually Hedron Archive rather than Karn, because I'm looking to Karn for the Angel. I think doing this, and doing this, and drawing that land puts me in a better position than just playing the Karn does. Now I have 4, 5, 6, 7 mana for the next turn. Isn't quite enough to do everything. Ooh, a Skirk Prospector. So they already have the Muxus then? So they can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then with the reduction they can also cast... Nope, nope. My life total is just under duress from normal means. So I need to survive one turn. So can I Karn and wish for something that gets me through a turn? I guess that has to be the line. I don't know what I am getting. I will have 4 available mana. I could just plus on this 2/2. Is that going to be enough to keep me alive? I chump block this, I take 6 damage, or the Karn gets hit. I can also be holding up Blast Zone for 1. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I can go ahead and lose Blast Zone, kill the Skirk Prospector now, and eliminate some of the shenanigans that can happen. Alright, I'm game. Alright, so I have what is very, very likely the winning line if my opponent doesn't kill me this turn. But my situation is tenuous. And there are also lines that just leave my Karn dead this turn. Where are these going? All right, they are just going at my face. I guess I can just take the Chieftain. They shouldn't have direct damage to my face spells. The Shatter Skull Smashing is creatures or planeswalkers. So I will go ahead and just take this out. I'll take 1 more damage in doing so, but I think that's okay. Famous last words, of course, but I think it's fine. Okay, yeah, and our opponent knows we can now wish for the angel, and that's that. Okay, this was really fun. I hope the audio turned out well and that I can actually use this recording. If you made it this far and you enjoyed this and you want to see more historic content, please, like and help more people find this. Have a great rest of the day.